Hello friends. So me and Blobfish are here today to talk to you about the exciting chapter called The Water Planet. So what I learned from this chapter is that the four outer planets are cold giants and they're actually much larger than the four planets that are closer to the sun, which I never really thought about. But yeah, I guess this is because what they're made up of. So the four outer ones are made up of ice, ammonia, methane, and their atmosphere has a lot of helium and hydrogen. And so obviously icy planets are not going to be close to the sun because the ice would not sustain, I think. That's how my artist brain figured that out. I also learned that we have leap years because it takes the Earth 365 and a fourth days to orbit the sun, and we just adapted this for our own convenience to 365 days, and then every 4 years we throw in an extra day. Lastly, I learned that longitude is much more difficult to determine than latitude, and I guess that's because you have to know the exact time and day and the position of the stars and the sun, which does seem very difficult to know, all of those things. And so latitude is much easier to figure out. Next, what I found interesting was that seawater is said to be a good conductor of energy, which, again, as an artist thinking of water is wet, so I would feel like water is not a good conductor of energy because I don't know how any of that stuff works. But seawater, I guess, is a good conductor of energy, and it also seems odd because even just fresh water is not a good conductor of energy. But yeah, that's something I found interesting and something I did not think about before. Things I want to know more about, or more about than other things in the chapter, are that galaxies are found in groups called clusters. So that kind of got me wondering what galaxies the Milky Way is neighbor to in our cluster. What is our cluster even called? And yeah, just what are the other galaxies around the Milky Way? Maybe that's something we learned in second grade that I just never remembered. But I don't know. And I also wonder what it is about Canada, Africa, and Greenland that the earliest preserved history was found there, of the Earth. So I wonder what these three places have in common that the earliest history of the Earth was found there. Next, 3 questions that I have on the content. So they say that they believe Earth to be 4.5 to 4.6 billion years old because objects dated in the solar system, such as meteorites, were estimated to be 4.5 billion years old. And so they think that these were formed around the same time as the Earth or the other planets. But I was wondering why scientists think this. Why are they just oh, these meteorites are this old, then the Earth must be this old too. That didn't make any sense to me because I feel like meteorites and the Earth are very different things. So what is the link between them that scientists think this? Another question I had was, it said the Earth is about 94, written out in scientific notation, 94 times 10 to the 6th miles from the sun in June, and 91 times 10 to the 6 miles away in December. So does the Earth stay consistently this far away from the sun in these months, or does it vary at all? Can it even vary its distance from the sun? That actually seems ridiculous now that I say it out loud. But when we have warmer winters or cooler summers, does it even get slightly closer, slightly farther? And then why, my third question, why are 70% of Earth's land masses in the northern atmosphere? Because I talked about that, but they didn't really explain it, I felt, so I don't know. I was just wondering. So basically, to summarize this all on kind of a second grade level, the way my mind works, basically, this chapter said that there are a ton of stars in the universe, and many of them, along with the other planets and the Earth, are very old, and we can measure that, and the Earth's age through rocks and radiometric dating and fancy things like that, and we can take pictures of things with satellites and sonar and whatever. We have a lot of technology, but it's not all super exact, but it's exact enough for science, I guess. And lastly, our planet has a lot of water. The chapter is called The Water Planet. So those are the things I learned from this chapter. See ya.